All right, Anthony Iannarino, welcome to the Big Skip Energy Podcast.
You know how to say my name. That's
Of
amazing.
course, I know how to say your name. Well, it's not that hard, but yet I guess some people do struggle with it.
Sometimes I give
Iannarino.
them like a bio to read before I speak,
Yeah.
and I put like a way for them to just work it out, like you did, okay? And
Yeah,
then
so
occasionally what happens
like
is somebody says, the best was a guy that said, Anthony, you're in a rhino. And I was like, not even close.
I kind of like it.
And then
Yeah,
other people just go,
that.
ladies and gentlemen, Anthony. They don't even try.
Anthony,
Even though I
Yeah.
write down Anna Reno, like your cousin Anna who lives in Reno. Like it's simple, but they still don't get it.
Oh man.
Well, here's another doozy for you, Anthony. Kayla, what's your maiden name?
Korpatnicki.
So, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Korpatnicki.
Or Pat Nicky. Yeah,
That's not even.
yeah.
She lives in a fake place with a fake last name. Amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You got to change it up. But I will say, having a very long or different last name is a great conversation piece.
Sure.
Nice icebreaker.
Is it?
Sounded like it had a lot of consonants in it.
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
Yeah, she's counted. I love it. Goodness gracious. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to come talk about some sales with us. If you would, for my listeners who don't know you or don't know about you, which, let's be honest, how is that even possible? But for those that may have been living up under a rock, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone just a little bit about you and what you do?
I started out as a child. Maybe I'll move up a little bit closer
Big
to.
Yeah, fast forward.
In 2009, I started writing a blog every single day. So that's been going on now for 13 years. I had a portfolio reach out to me to ask me for a book. And I told them I had this book and that I was going to publish it myself because I didn't see any reason to work with them. And then they sent me an offer. And that gave me 3 books with portfolio.
Yep.
And then I moved to Wiley and wrote 2 more books. So that's 5 books. And I'm writing book 6 right now, not a sales book, a mindset book. So I'm writing that one right now. I'm one of the founders of Outbound with my friend Jeb Blunt. I'm a coach, a trainer, a consultant, and a whole bunch of other jobs. So that's what I do. Mostly what I'm concerned with is human effectiveness in conversations with clients and between leaders and their sales team. So that's what I do. Whole bunch of people care about technology. I love Chat GPT. I love it. I think it's great for a research person, but I still want to go out and meet people face to face. And if you're in sales, that's what you should want to do, is get to know people, build relationships, and get clients for life so that you never have to compete for an order. I'd rather just win them one time and then I own you for the rest of our time. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I like that. So there's a lot of places to start with that. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Now you're primarily in the B2B space, correct?
Yes.
Right. So most of your book, all of your books have to do with the effectiveness of selling. Which one is your favorite?
So this is like, do you have children?
Yes.
Which one's your favorite?
I just like them all proportionately.
Yeah, right. Okay, exactly. Your first, like the first book, this book was so clean. Like it's the cleanest book I ever wrote because I had a great editor with me. And then the second book, I had to bring him back in because the editor was doing a terrible job and we worked that one out. This one, I actually did a stop the presses on. I said, like, literally, stop the presses. And they're like, we're pressing. And I said, stop it. Like, you've ruined my book. We start over. And then I said to my editor, I said, you wouldn't treat Seth Godin like this. And he goes, yeah, I did. And then I said some unkind words to him. And then a few months later, I sat down with Seth at his place. And he's like, they ruined my book. And I'm like, mine too. This book, this is my soul as a salesperson. Like, this is the one That is what I do when I sell.
Mm-hmm. So
So
I,
it has to be that one.
I know, but I think so. My first exposure to you was Eat Their Lunch, and so I guess that's probably my favorite. But your most recent, the Elite Sales Strategies, is really spot on, and that is one of the things I wanted to ask you about today. I mean, give us the Cliff's Notes version of the one-up strategy.
So the one-up strategy works like this. Because we sell what we sell every day, we start to acquire knowledge and experience that is unavailable to our clients. So we know a lot of things that they can't possibly know unless they are in our industry. So what makes us one up is that we have what's called information disparity. Information disparity means I know something you don't know. And if I teach you what you know, you will no longer be one down, and you will be more one up because now you've learned what you needed to make a good decision and to get the best possible results. So sometimes you're one up, sometimes you're one down. So when you're sitting with a client, as it pertains to their business and what they want, they're one up. So we have to ask them questions so that we can understand what they know. And then when we do our best work and we collaborate and we come together like this, that's when we do our very best work and we help people get the best results. So you want to be one up, but if you're one down, it's not forever. You just have to start figuring out, what do I know that they don't know? That if I taught them this, they would say, that was an amazing conversation that we had. When can we have another one? And that's the game that we play. And I wrote something this morning that I haven't published. I published part of it on LinkedIn. The future of sales is expertise, professional expertise. That's what it is. You are not going to be a run-of-the-mill regular salesperson that says, my company's great, we have these great clients, we have all the great products, we're better than everyone else, you should buy from us. You will die of starvation if that is your strategy for selling. It will not work for you anymore because nobody cares. Everybody's got a good product. Everybody works for a good company. There's no reason, and all you have to do is test this to say, did you leave a job and go to another company? And they go, yep. Are they about the same? Yep, about the same, right? They're all doing the similar work. So when you say my competitor's terrible and we're great, that's just not a good way to do this at all. There's a much better way. And the first thing is creating value in the sales conversation and then using what I would call professional differentiation. And professional differentiation is something like, there are 3 or 4 models in our industry, and there's some that are super low price, and that's great. But you get some concessions that they never are going to disclose to you until you find out that you made those concessions without knowing it. And then there's other people who do really good work. We like them. We have friends there. We know everybody in the industry, but we don't like their model because we don't think that they invest enough to get the results that we need. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to tell you what I'm doing is I'm singing their praises and then confessing their sins. That's me doing that. I'm saying they're great and they're awful. And then they're great and they're awful. And then we get to me and I get to say, well, we do have a higher price than anybody else. It's about 8 to 11% more. But if you allow me to tell you how I spend those 8 or 11 pennies on your behalf, you'll understand how we make sure that you get none of those concessions that you'll have when you choose somebody with a different model. Now, I didn't say anybody's name. I didn't say, Skip, he's a thief. I mean, he's a terrible guy. Like, you can't buy from him. Nobody's going to believe what you say anyway, right? When you say something like that, they're going to be like, come on, like, that's not true. And then you look bad. But if you do it as like talking about business models, that's what we do. We talk about the model. We don't talk about individuals. We don't have to. And that is how we differentiate ourselves. So that's some of what you need to do to be one up.
I love that. And so, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I love when people discuss this because it's really easy to have a good company, a good product, but it's difficult to have a world-class experience. And when you can find ways to add value, I mean, you don't want to be commoditized. There's in our industry, in mind, there's a million lenders, there's a million realtors. How are you finding solutions and adding value and options for your clients? Because when you do that, they'll stop and say, oh, that other company never even mentioned that. And so by giving even solutions or different options, I feel like that alone adds value.
Well, let me tell you about.
So
I write every day, so I have to tell you. I wrote something called creating value, building value, and adding value. And here's what I want you to know about the difference in these things. Okay, when you are in the sales conversation and you're teaching your client how to make a decision, and you're making sure that they understand all the factors and how to weigh them, and that there's different models and how to determine which model is going to be best for them, you're creating value. And then when you start positioning your solution, you're building the value of the solution. So that is when we're building the value for what they're actually going to buy. That's important too. Adding value is, in, let's say, in a negotiation, in a situation like that, where they say, you know what, somebody else did this other thing, and you say, I can give you this and I can give you this. Now I'm adding value. I'm not creating it because it's something that I already have that I can give them. And so that's it. So the thing that I care most about is the creation of value in the sales conversation, because that is the variable to your success and your failure. I mean, that's it. So you either create value for them and they go, I love her. She's smart. She told us all these things that we hadn't even considered. Oh, wait, there seems to be a skeptic here on this. I don't understand why, but you know.
no skeptic.
And then they go like, she's trustworthy. I think we can move forward with her. And that's what that happens. But when you come in and you do it the legacy way, where you're like, this is how big our company is. Look at this, look at that. And then they're like, I'm trying to make a decision about my choice here on what I'm going to do. And now, especially, like, this is a weird time for you, right? Happens every once in a while, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not the best time. Yeah. So it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know one thing. You can tell people something like this. You can say, you're going to be dating your interest rate, and you're going to be marrying your house. So eventually, you're going to drop that interest rate when the Fed has to start straightening this thing out. But if it's your dream house, buy that house. Like, go buy it right now. Don't worry about it. The prices are down enough that you're going to make up more money on interest. But tell them, like, you're dating this interest rate,
and you're divorcing the rent.
Yes,
divorcing that. Now that's one I haven't heard very much of. I like that one too.
Yeah, there you go. True. It's true. You got to find a way to teach them.
Mm-hmm. I love the pillars though, because I don't think anyone's ever really broken down. You know, it's add value, but I love that you say you create, you build, and then you add, just kind of breaking it down in segments.
Yeah, I'm a writer, so I care about words and definitions, and like, people use adding value like they're doing it in the conversation, and they're not doing it in the creation. They're actually creating it in the conversation, because there's nothing else there. There's no solution there.
Yeah.
It's just you. So you're the creator of value, and they're the recipient of value.
Amen.
These are things that only sales nerds care about.
Well, you're in good company then. So, so I want to go back to something you said a minute ago that was really impactful, especially in our industry that has a lot of consolidations and closings, and people switch places of employment probably more often, I think, than a lot of other industries. Now, of course, you know, I don't have any stats to back that up, but one of the things that I usually tell loan officers that I'm training is really to kind of work towards the only name on your business card that matters is your own, and not the company on there. And I think that's what people, no matter what industry you're in, really need to work towards. That it doesn't matter, you know, who you're going to work for, what's behind you, because they're going to buy from that individual person. And you know, I think that's really what a lot of this is gearing towards. And Kayla, I think you can attest to this, especially since I'm in the B2B space, you're in the B2C space. the biggest difference between you and the other 5 million mortgage companies out there is your smiling face, right?
Yeah.
So
selling is I haven't this book. I can just keep going through books with you here, but this one,
just keep.
I like it.
selling it's individual, and this is why Kayla can make $1 million and somebody else can make $62,000 in a year. And it's because there's a difference in the way that they sell, in the way that they present themselves, in what they can teach clients, and how much value they create. And this is tough for people to understand until I explain to them. Two salespeople both work for Google. Google's a great company, right? They have the same managers, they have the same prospective clients, they have the same solutions, they have the same compensation plan. Everything is the same. And one of them is wildly successful and the other one is failing. Why is that? It's not because of the company. It's not because of the product. It's not because of the environment. It's not because of the competitors, and it's not because of the clients. It's us. So it's individual. So you have to figure out, how do I become effective enough that I can win deals at a high rate? And that's up to you. And if you're a good leader and a good manager and you're listening to this, you have to help your team get more effective. Everybody right now is so enamored with technology. And it's like, this is good technology too. You like this technology? Look at this. I can carry water around with me wherever I go now, right? That's amazing.
It's a hell of an invention.
There was a time where you'd have to like drink it from your hands. Now look at this. It's amazing. And I could show you a screwdriver and you probably wouldn't be very impressed by a screwdriver because you've seen one. But these are tools. And I'm not as concerned with the tools, but I think it's a crutch for people that they think they're going to get better results because of technology instead of learning how to talk to people and understanding their psychology, understanding that they're uncertain, resolving their concerns, giving them care. I mean, that's the thing that I think is the variables that people don't understand. They think our company's older, so that means it's more trustworthy. No, you need to be trustworthy. That's what that has to be trustworthy first before they believe anything.
So go ahead, Kayla.
I was just going to comment that I think, too, a lot of people think, oh, technology, if I've got all the technology in the world, I'm going to be the best salesperson. I'm going to set up my CRM. No, that's great to have in addition to you being a human, because people going through a lot of their purchases, example, buying a house, it's emotional. And if you're relying on a CRM to walk you through, you're going to fail. Your client's going to be unhappy. You're going to be unhappy. We need that human to human connection too.
Okay, I have a scar that starts right here and it goes all the way around to the back right there. I'm doing this missing part of my brain. I'm doing it with just half a brain, more than half a brain. I only lost a chunk out of the back part of this one right here. But I'm a human, and I think that that's the only thing that matters as humans. And if you're the kind of person that, I mean, I had this experience when I was 25, so that's like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, maybe a little longer. I don't know.
It's clearly affected your memory there.
It must have, yeah. But once you realize that relationships are the most important thing and everything else is secondary to that, then you start to look at things differently. And that's what happened to me. I already liked people. I'm an extrovert, so I get energy from people. And Jeb gets energy taken away from him from people. So that's the difference between us. This is the interesting thing about the two of us. I am an introvert on stage. I am like a teacher. I'm going to teach you. I will have a dry sense of humor. It'll be fun. And then Jeb is an extrovert on stage and an introvert outside of it. And both of us switch places when we're in speaking. Yeah. But I do think it's about people. It's all about people.
So not to beat an old topic up, but as far as the effectiveness of selling, now obviously I know that there's going to be there's an art to this, but virtual on the phone as opposed to face to face. And the reason I'm asking this is because the way that I sell in my company, we are, for lack of a better term, we're very old fashioned. We believe in getting out in the field and having that face to face meeting. And so that's what we work towards, is having that. I know a lot of places don't believe in that necessarily as much anymore. What are you seeing in terms of the effectiveness today post-COVID with the virtual selling, or people moving away from that effectiveness and that kind of thing?
I think we're still at the beginning of everybody trying to use technology to sell. And now they're thinking about, with GPT, we could actually have the computer sell to people. And all I can tell you is that I hope to God that everybody does it, because I will get a broom and I will sweep up everything in front of me, like everything. Like, you don't want to go meet them. I'm going to tell you the truth. I have a client in Chicago in the middle of COVID, like we're right in the middle. I'm one of two people on a jet flying to Chicago to meet my clients. I called my clients and I said, I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm going to come and see you. And they're like, you don't have to do that. I said, I don't have to do it. I want to do it. And when can you see me? And I went over and they were stunned that I walked in, especially because there was nobody in the office except for 3 people that I needed to meet with. And they were all there for me. And I flew to them. And I can tell you, it made a tremendous adjustment in we already had a good relationship, but then it became even better. Like, you're going to get on a plane and they're like, you put yourself at risk. And I'm like, there's 2 of us on the plane. Like, that was a big giant jet with 2 people on it, but they had to move it anyway. So I went on the trip. But I hope that they all try to use all the sales automation they can use, do every trick in the book to try to trick you into thinking that they're real, especially like what they're doing now in emails that are written by the CMO is they're putting typos in it. So it looks like a human actually wrote it. So they could try to trick you into believing that it came from a human. These are things that are like, you already lost my trust. Like, everybody's already published that people are doing this. Now I know that you're doing it. You can't be trusted. You're trying to get over on me already. Mm-hmm. That's not a good start of a relationship. Yeah. Like, here's the best way to start a relationship. Lie to the person right out of the gate. Like, the first thing you ever do, just lie. Because people love that, right? This makes no sense at all.
Creates connection.
Well, that's the thing. Like, for me, I've already been through that. For Kayla, a lot of her competitors are going to be online based and that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with that. I guess. But it's not the same. It's because they don't have the chance to sit down with Kayla or talk to her on the phone one-on-one and have a good conversation. And she has a chance to actually consult instead of just. It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. It's a tremendous difference in the relationship. There's a lot of people that don't believe that relationships matter, but all I can tell you is I've had clients for 3 decades. That's a long time to keep clients. So, I mean, if you want to win once and never compete again, that's what I would work on. Like, work on being so good that they don't need to ever talk to anybody else and won't, because they have so much trust in. Mm-hmm.
So, Anthony, I can't ask just anybody this, but I feel comfortable asking you. So, what is? Don't worry, it's nothing good. Kayla's like, oh God, what's he about to say? It's not bad, but give me what amounts to a state of the union for the sales industry right now. What are you seeing as the current state of sales?
I'll give you a number of things. Okay, so one, we'll start with technology. And the technology now, I know one company that has 200 reps. They pay $7,000 for software for each person a year. It's $1,400,000. Thinking that it's going to increase their efficiency, which they should not be worried about. They should be worried about their effectiveness. Nobody says, you know what, Skip, I was going to buy from this other guy, but it looks like you guys have a great sales stack and you're probably super efficient and you're going to be a better choice for me. Nobody's going to say that. We've got SDRs and BDRs that are basically sweatshop workers making cold calls that are getting no exposure at all to the real conversation that they're going to need to have if they ever want to become a full cycle salesperson or an account executive. This is a lost generation that's getting more lost every minute. I mean, there's no doubt about this to me. Now you got Chat GPT. There's already people that have asked me to come on and say, we're going to do this gig and we want you to speak about artificial intelligence in sales. I don't have anything to say. I have nothing good to say about it. Like, you don't want me to get on stage. I want you to get a human being to sit with another human being and have a conversation like we've done for a long time. I don't want your AI to talk to my AI and put us together in a virtual space. I want to actually go and meet people, and that's the best thing that people can do. So this automation is bad. I think it's hurting us. I think this spray and pray sales automation that you get in your InMail, I don't know if you get these, Skip. I get about I get 5 to 7 Asian women every day that say, LinkedIn told me to connect with you. I'd like to have a chat. And I keep telling LinkedIn, like, these are not real. These are not real people. This is probably Chinese guys or Russians, like with pictures of pretty girls. They all work for a fashion brand, and they're the CEO or the CFO and all these things. And I look at this and I'm like, why would you let this, like, the only good social space was LinkedIn for business people. And then now you can't get an email to anyone because you're suspect. You can't get an InMail to someone because you're suspect. You can't get through on the phone because it's suspect. And if you send that email, it's 85 slots down in about 20 minutes. The average knowledge worker in the United States get 140 emails a day and send 167. 40 emails go out from them every day. So I did the math on this. If you were to try to answer all of those emails, it would take you 6.5 hours if you spent 3 minutes on each one. How are you going to get anything else done? So that's why your email is just getting further and further and further down. They're not even going to see it. And if they do, they're going to drop it right into spam, just like that, because they can't trust it. So for a long time, salespeople had a different type of information disparity. I know something you don't know, and I'm not going to tell you so I can take advantage of you. That's how we did it. And that's how people got this stereotype about salespeople. Now we're going to have another stereotype. So these people who I suggested on LinkedIn should burn in hell for all eternity for ruining it for real salespeople who need to pick up the phone and call people, and that the gods of sales will punish them for trying to make sales easy. The gods of sales have no mercy for people who try to make sales easy. They make it harder for them. Those of us who actually just do the real work of selling, the gods smile on us from time to time. And that's what we're working on here. So I think it's terrible right now. And we're going to have a whole lost generation of salespeople. And what is worse, Skip, is what you don't know. And what you don't know is that the entire world right now has a demographic drought. People do not have enough babies. We don't have anywhere near enough babies right now. It's not even close. The replacement rate is 1.6 per every woman who has a baby. Kayla, how many babies do you have?
4 pit bulls.
No babies?
No babies.
You owe us 2.2.
I'll get on that.
That is the replacement rate. Now, I did 3.
Yeah.
Replacement place plus 1. Skip, what'd you do? 3?
There you go. We're even out.
Replacement rate plus 1. Good. See, he's a good man. He added 1 additional one.
Just doing my part.
I don't know. I think you better get busy working on this. Like, we need babies. It's not just us, it's the whole world. After World War II, baby boomers, 74.6 million of them, the largest population ever in the United States. That also happened in Germany and Italy and every place else around the world. And then people stopped having babies. In the United States, 2007. So I'm telling you this about sales because what do you think happens when 76.4 million people leave the workforce, and when there are no more babies? The millennials, their babies will be working in 2045 if they ever decide to have some, because they don't have very many babies. The Zoomers, my kids are Zoomers, they're so worried about climate change that they probably will never have babies. Well, one of them will for sure, the little one. She goes her own way. But what do you think happens when there's a giant drop in a population? What happens to demand for houses? What happens to demand for everything that you buy at the shopping mall? What happens to that when all these people who had money and competency are gone? there's going to be a reckoning. And the reckoning is going to be, if you can't really sell, if you're not really an expert, if you are not one up, ain't nobody got time for you. That'll be the end of that. And then we're going to figure out who can sell and who can't, because we won't need so many of them. And we're not going to need a whole bunch of people. In June of 2021, the Wall Street Journal posted an article that said there's 700,000 sales jobs open, and they pay well, and they give you more autonomy than anything else, and no one wants them. That's where we are. So I'm writing about this, Skip. You'll see it eventually on the blog and probably on a stage sometime. But I'm trying to make sure people understand, like, if you're not worried about competency, if you're not worried about effectiveness, if you don't know how to create value for other people in a conversation, it's going to get really, really steep. Like right now it's going up, like it's getting more difficult. Buyers are researching on their own, consumerization. They go make complex decisions by going out and doing their own research, like they're buying a big TV at Best Buy or something. Like, you need to talk to people. And they're like, no, we want a salesperson free buying experience. And then they have terrible buyer's remorse because they didn't spend enough time with the salesperson to understand the decision that they were making.
Or the wrong salesperson.
Say it again.
Or the wrong salesperson, or a poor one.
Or to the wrong, yes.
Do you guys feel like
this is chapter 1 of Sales Nerd Talk?
There you go. That's right.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And it's, you're bringing a different view than even I've even considered. But do you feel, you talk Chat GTP a bit, and it's this hot new thing. Do you feel that it's taking, obviously it's artificial, but to me, I feel like it's allowing people to not get creative. I've always created my own content, thought, what are the pain points that people have, and what do they want to learn about? Do you guys feel that Chat GTP is just kind of taking that creativity out of people?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've been using it. I write every day, and I decided to go into Chat GPT and say, what are the most popular topics under this sort of big keyword? And then I would get that list of those things, and then I would go decide, like, what do I have to say about these? I've got a list right now. I asked it to make me a list of titles for YouTube videos. And I think it gave me, before I said stop, like that's enough already. It gave me, I can't tell you, but I think 110.
Oh, wow.
Titles. So one of them says, what are the most effective B2B sales strategies for retaining clients? I could answer that. And it's kind of like having a partner, and the partner says, could you say something about this? Honestly, I can say something about anything, especially anything on this list right here. Why is emotional intelligence important to B2B sales interactions? Like, all of these things I can answer. But that was an interesting thing to do. I won't let it give me the answers. I don't need them to write it, because I'm going to only write from my perspective, that I only talk about things that I actually have done and that I actually know. So I won't talk about it if I don't know. So some of these will have to come off because I don't care about certain things. Like this one that says, what are the top B2B sales gamification techniques? Don't care. I have no knowledge, no understanding. Can't answer it.
So if I'm hearing you right, then Kayla's point was more along the lines of doing it for you. So your approach is saying, hey, let me create my own content, but you can be kind of like a spark that ignites kind of an idea or get starting point.
Yeah, and if you want to write something that people are going to get through Google, like, you might as well look and see like what's already trending on Google. And then you can just, like, that's a good question to ask it. Like in my industry, I don't know if you know how to do this, but you basically just start by saying, pretend you are a world-class mortgage person that researches this and this and this thing, and then tell me what are the most popular trends right now on Google. Now, remember, it's only going up to 2021. They unplugged it at that point in time. So but you'll get a whole bunch of things that you could write. I
Mhm.
just like writing so much that I would never let AI write for me. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
going to do the writing.
Right, but it can spark some topics. It can allow you to kind of be like, oh, that's great. I know some of the social media platforms allow you to type in them. Like if I typed in mortgage, it would fill in what's most searched, and so that's even a tool for people to be like, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk on this because it's the most searched on TikTok.
Yeah. Are you on
Mhm.
TikTok?
Hmm.
The Chinese have got all of your.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
I know. I hear.
They know
I'm
all your apps. They know what you're on. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
I don't know, man. They've been
Sell us
talking
more
about
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
age of surveillance capitalism. Everything's being
Mhm.
recorded.
I
That's
know.
right. Data. Anthony, did you say data or data?
If you say data, like I did, that means we're talking about Star Trek. And
No, that's true.
if you say data, then I think we have to talk about.
Kayla, you stay out of this for just a second. We're having a nerd moment.
Okay, you guys do
Yeah.
your thing.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure she's not a nerd, though.
Oh, she's definitely a nerd in her own ways, for
Yeah.
sure. I can promise you that. She's a big dork.
I just don't appear that way.
No, you do.
Okay, perfect.
You guys are close.
So, okay, as we kind of start to wrap it up, if you are a salesperson in 2023 and you're saying, Anthony, give me the one thing I should focus on to make the most of what's left in this sales year, what would it be?
It's a little late for that. You still have a lot of time. What I would tell you is, if you haven't figured out how to become an expert and an authority, that's the most important thing for you to do first. And
Yeah.
then you have to learn how to present as an expert and an authority by teaching the client, like just like this. Like you walk in, there's no, hey, let me tell you about my company. You just get rid of all that and you go, these are the trends that are happening right now. These are the ways that we can help people with these things. This is why these things aren't working right now, and they'll work again probably once the rate gets down to 3.78 or something like that. Once you start doing that, then you're going to have a very different conversation, and you're going to be actually helping people make the decisions. And Chris Beal, who you might know, Chris once said, people buy from people they trust to make a decision they don't trust themselves to make. That is what he said. I stole it and I put it in the book and attributed it to him because it's exactly right. If you are uncertain and you don't know how to make that decision because you don't make it often enough, you need somebody who's one up, who can give you all the information that you need. And that is the second most important thing. So get the expertise, get the authority, make sure you have information disparity, and then educate that person. Make them an educated buyer. And if you want to, the best way to think about this, I'll give you the very best way. Neither of you sell what you sell right now. You're fired from your jobs. And you decide, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be a consultant. I'm going to get a business card, a flashy one, like from American Psycho, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
like
you're going to take that card and you're going to go talk to people. And somebody's going to say, Kayla, we'd love to have you be our consultant as we make this decision. And you say, okay, how am I going to get paid? You're just going to get paid from me directly. You can't sell me anything because you don't have anything except your consultation, your advice, and your recommendations. That's the only thing you can do is teach them. So what would you do? What would you teach them if you said, I'm not responsible for selling them anything. I'm responsible for helping them make the decision as to what to buy and who from. What would you teach them? If you can answer that question, and listen, if you're listening to this, I just gave you the key to open the door. Like, this is the key. All you have to do is turn it and it will work for you. If you just think, I have to teach them how to make this decision, and you teach them how to make that decision, you are going to win their business. You are going to win their business by doing that. As long as you give them the information that they need to make that decision, they will prefer you over their just about everybody else. And remember, most people are still selling like it's 1988.
Especially now, it's a cutthroat business that we're in, but I found when you empower your clients and you educate them, they feel empowered and they'll still say, well, what would you recommend? But they don't feel like the wool is pulled over their eyes when they're educated, even if they're not the expert.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, what Anthony has said is 100% true, whether it's consumers or other businesses that you sell to. So, all right. So Anthony, before we leave, I want you to share with me something that would shock me about you. Now, Kayla doesn't realize that you once had a full head of hair, that you were once a rock star. She doesn't realize all this. So
My hair was every bit as pretty as hers. Not when I dyed it blonde, though. That wasn't good.
Well,
I fronted a hair metal band in Los Angeles in the early 90s.
oh my God.
That's not the most shocking thing. I have many more shocking things than that, but they're not all safe for.
I was going to say, let's share one that'll not get me taken down by the FCC.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to go to any of those.
Oh my God.
I made my first face-to-face cold call when I was 12, selling newspapers in two large apartment complexes, mine and then the one that was around the corner. And I had to carry 250 Sunday papers. And when I found out that if I knocked on the door and I said, listen, you're getting the Sunday paper, can I get you the rest of the week? A lot of people would say no, but then some people would say yes. And then I started making money. And then you might not know this about me either. I started making cold calls on a phone when I was 15 for muscular dystrophy, asking people to do bike-a-thons. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't found anybody that has a date where they started making cold calls younger than 15. So that was me. I got 2 bike-a-thons. I'm the only person to get any bike-a-thons. And then I got a job at a skating rink, and I was 15, and there were 15-year-old girls at the skating rink. And so, and they said, we really need you to come back. You're the only person that got 2 deals. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, I'm not coming back. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm on roller skates now. That's it.
That's right. I'm out of here faster than I was before.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great. I mean, we could easily talk about any number of these topics for a long, long time, but I appreciate you coming on, dropping some wisdom on us and our listeners, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Let me know anytime.
All right.
Anthony,
thank you again.
Good to meet you.
All right. Thanks, Anthony.
No outbound this year. Next year, new outbound.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
How come?
Well,
because it takes me and Jeb so much work and time and energy. We have businesses to run, and we're gonna take a year off and that.
Make it better the next year.
It's going to be different.
Racing around the world right now.
It's going to be a different. It's going to be a different show. We're
cool.
It's going to be more intimate. It's going to be more of a workshop.
Very cool.
You heard it here first.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.